So I already had video shot from between the last video where I set up my project downstairs at Ecosculpt, and now, unfortunately, I lost that video. I had it edited all ready to go and somehow it just disappeared. So I'm going to recap a little bit for you and try to explain some of the lost footage. About 3 days after I installed my sculpture in Ecosculpt, we had high gale winds coming through Cincinnati. It's actually been pretty windy all the last 2 weeks. And I went down to check on the statue after 3 days just to see how it was doing in the outdoors, and the whole thing had tipped over. And even when you set it upright, the pipe was spinning around in the umbrella base. So, needless to say, I was a little freaked out, and like I said, the video that I shot of the other entrance was when I found out that it had fallen over, so that was a little bit rushed and confused. We went back down the next day to try to stabilize the whole thing, and Lee drilled a hole through the umbrella base and the pipe and put a bolt through it, so that stopped the spinning around. We put some extra sandbags on the base of it to give it some more weight. I was really surprised. I didn't think wind would be a problem with this thing. I thought being mesh that the wind would just go right through it and no issue. Not only was it a problem like blowing it over and everything, it actually got enough force that it bent the umbrella base, the metal umbrella base, which, okay. Wasn't expecting that. So yeah, the elements were a new twist to the artwork that I hadn't experienced before. Then after we got it stabilized and it seemed to be, okay, I had about 2 weeks to just sit around and think about what did I think about this whole thing. It was weird because I was kind of disappointed in it and proud of it at the same time. I was disappointed a little bit in the final way it looked. It wasn't as cool as the drawing I had in the image I had in my head. It was a little bit saggy, floppy. The head, like I said, still felt like it was really undersized. So I didn't feel like it was giving the visual impression that I really wanted. But I was also proud of it because I tried something really outside my comfort zone, something really unusual that I hadn't done before. And people really seemed to be responding to it more than they did to gallery work, which was something very unusual for me, having total strangers talk to me about it. Even friends and families were responding to it more than they did to my gallery and traditional artwork. So that definitely kind of put a little thought in my head of, public outdoor art. It hits people differently, I guess. So it's definitely an avenue that I think I want to explore more. And at the same time, it's just the artist's dilemma. People seem to respond to it more, but it's also a piece that you can't really do anything with. You can't sell it. You can't really do anything with it. So who knows? Maybe they're responding to the so-called purity of it. They know that you're not trying to sell them anything. I have no idea what's going on in people's mind when they look at art. I just know what's going on in mine when I make it. So in the 2 weeks before the award ceremony, people would ask me, do I think I'm going to win a prize? And generally I would, no, I didn't really feel like I was going to win a prize. And now that the award ceremony has happened, I did not win any prizes. As usual, once the winners are announced, I'm always really surprised, because of the 2 pieces that were down there that I thought were definitely head and shoulders above the rest, 1 piece got 3rd prize and 1 piece got nothing. So that really surprised me. One of the pieces that I don't know, I can't help it. Everybody has their personal opinions, and even artists sometimes don't like art. There was a piece that I didn't particularly care for, and it got People's Choice Award. So I don't know. The judging always kind of confuses me of like, if I could see where the judges are coming from of like, oh, they like this style, they like something like this style, you could try to, you know, work along that vein, but generally speaking, whenever the judges pick something, I have no idea why they've picked it. So it's just very strange for me. I don't know how it is for other artists, but for me it's very strange to try to figure out what's good, what's not good, what do people like, what are people looking for. Maybe eventually after many years of doing this, I just won't even question it. Maybe I'll just do whatever. Kind of what I do anyway, but... So if you watched my first video, which hopefully a few of you have, you see one of my ideas of how this whole thing was going to turn out was that nobody would pay any attention to this. I wouldn't get anything out of it. There would be no press, no publicity, no upside to doing this whole event. And that's kind of where it turned out. I actually had the weird thought yesterday when I was waiting for the awards announcement of just like, you know, it'd be really weird if I did win something because I don't really know how to act in that realm of winning. I'm used to the kind of realm of, oh, you put your artwork up and a few people go, oh, hey, I like that, cool. And that's the extent of the whole thing. That's the realm I'm used to working in. And while it's obviously the one I'm trying to break out of, it's the one that's familiar. It's true what they say, success can be just as scary as failure. So now that it's all over, I kind of wonder, was it worth it? Hard to say. I mean, I'm glad I didn't really spend any money on the whole thing, which was the original intent, because, like I said, this has been my experience. You put all this effort and time into it, and money, and you don't really get anything out of it. So at least I only spent about $30 in it, not counting parking fees for downtown, which is probably another $15. So, I mean, because that's definitely hard when you spend not only time, creativity, but money in something, and you're all excited about it, you think people are going to love it, you think it's going to sell, and then it doesn't, and then you've got, you know, $50 in this painting, and $60 in this table, and $40 in this lamp, and it's just all sitting around your house. Sure, you've got an object that's lovely, and your house has got lots of cool stuff in it, but your cash flow is gone, and now you can't make any more art. So I need to sell art, not even to make money, just to make more art. I need to keep the cash flow going so I can keep creating new things, and that's not going so well right now. So without having spent too much money on it, the only thing I really kind of lost was the 30-40 hours worth of time that I spent doing it, the mental stress, which there wasn't a huge amount, but there was a good bit of mental stress and sleepless nights of like, this is not going to work. And then you start to go, well, would that 30 or 40 hours been better spent doing some other art project? I don't know. I mean, you kind of have to try to let go of what's done. It's not always easy. The bigger problem for me right now is in 2 days I've got to take that statue out of downtown and bring it home, and now I've got a 10-foot, well actually about 6-foot high sculpture that I don't know what to do with. I thought I would just maybe stick it in the backyard, but then we'd have to mow around it. So anybody want a sculpture? So now that it's done, I'm in that kind of mode of just like, I'm just tired. I mean, every time I have to show something, I don't think I'm that nervous or stressed out or anything, but every time I leave a show, I'm exhausted. And then I had to go to work right after the show yesterday and do some fairly physical work, so today I'm just beat. There's no way around that. But you know, as soon as I get some rest, the brain will start churning again. There's backlog of ideas in my head of stuff that I want to work on. Which one I'm going to work on next, I'm not sure, but I think definitely I will explore more of this, you know, large-scale ideas. Really the only problem for me with the large-scale ideas is you really have to have the place first to show it. Like I had this idea that I wanted to take shrink wrap from packing pallets, which is in addition to the strapping that I use for this sculpture, another thing that just is in vast amounts where I work. I wanted to take shrink wrap, big piles of it, and make a giant, like maybe 15-foot long kind of jellyfish that would hang from the ceiling and have tendrils coming down from it. And I was like, Dad, that'd be really cool. But you have to have the place for that. You just can't make that in your living room and then go shop it around to, you know, little cafes, and that doesn't work at all. So I haven't been able to quite figure out how you do that. I don't know. So that to me is the big hold up for big projects. Fortunately, I also have ideas for smaller, more traditional products. I have a line of drawings I want to work on that is going to probably come up fairly soon. Some kind of collage-y, wall-hanging things too. But I still keep seeing really cool things in the trash at work. It's just amazing to me the things that we throw out and the potential there is in it. I mean, take a look at this thing I found yesterday at work. It's just a little piece of styrofoam that was lining between ceramic bowls, and I like it. It's like some sort of abstract flower, and we go through piles of these at work. If I wanted to spend some time collecting it, I could make dozens of these flowers, all for free. So I have no idea if I'll ever use that, but fortunately the ideas keep coming, and that's really the fun part. The shows, they aren't the fun part. It's having the ideas and then trying to figure out how to make them happen. So that, I feel, is definitely the area that I have my strength. So I'm going to keep on working on that.